is God asking you? What has God been speaking to your heart? Deep down in the recesses of your heart, in the private times. Summertime's over. Life comes back to some sense of normalcy. What is the Lord saying to reset your perspective? The scripture says in verse 4, when I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Nehemiah's perspective that was being formed and shaped as he's praying is, God, what do you want me to do? God, how can I become an instrument to change the world? How can I make a difference? And that's what happens when we reset our lives. You don't want to just bump along the road of life. You want to be able to look back when your final moments come, when you're about to slip into eternity, and you want to look back and say, you know something, I took time to get God's perspective of my life, and I reset my life, and I know that I've put God first. And there are no regrets. There are no false perspective to say, I hoped I did, I wish I did, I wanted to do the right thing, but I never somehow got around to it. And I'm saying, let's not have those kinds of thoughts. Let's not have those kinds of surmising and perspectives. Rather, let's have the perspective that says, God, I took the time, I put you first. The founder of the Salvation Army in the 1800s, his name was William Booth. And since the organization was termed Salvation Army, his title was General. So in essence, General Booth. And he had such tremendous success, he raised up workers that they called at that time Salvationists, that he would dispatch to so many countries around the world to serve the needs of the poor and the downtrodden and the rejected of society. Now he's in his 80s. He receives this visitor, a young minister. A young man so admired all of the success of this great man of God. He said to General Booth, he said, General Booth, please tell me, as a young guy, I'm just starting off, what's the basis and what's the real stuff that led to your success? The old man paused, and you can see his mind working to give the answer to this young minister. And he said, son, I remember the day when I said to God, God, I give all that there is of William Booth to you. Have you done that? I'm not talking about making God just on the side. I'm not talking about when, it's like God's just there. He's not managing. His decisions doesn't really count. You weigh what he says. I'm talking about when you allow the word, sola scriptura, the Latin phrase, the scriptures alone becomes the final basis of my faith and authority. I'm talking about when you say, God, whatever your word says to me, that's done. That's how I'm going to manage my life. That's how I'm going to love my kids. That's how I'm going to love my wife. That's how I'm going to love my husband. That's how I'm going to order my finances. I'm going to do what your word says, whatever your word says. No more wrestling, no more rationalizing, no more reasoning away, no more removing, no more justifying, no more coming into my own way and trying to manipulate the text. God, I want to be your man. I'm talking about, have you done that? Because you're not ordering your life, ma'am, if you have not said, God, you're first. I mean it, you're first. Always. Not when I'm in a jam, not when I'm in a pickle, not when I'm in a crisis. You're first. Always. All the time. For all of my life. In every area. Even the areas I struggle with. I place you first. Have you done that? If you've not, your perspective has not yet been reset.